What's going on, guys? So in this video we're going to be seeing what happens when you put an Xbox Series X game into every different Xbox console. So as you can see, I've got an Xbox Series X game right here, NBA 2K21, and so basically we're going to take this game, we're going to put it in the Xbox Series X first, and then we'll put it in the Xbox One, the 360, and the original Xbox. So basically 4 different consoles we're going to try out. So first of all, it's a Series X game, so obviously it should work on the Series X. So let's just get a baseline test, which is what I like to do. And so we'll put it in the Series X, just make sure it works. It's been a couple days since I played this game, so there might be an update. You know games nowadays, they like to have updates every other day. And there you go, boot straight up. I also could change it so that it doesn't boot straight up and it just pulls up right here and I have to actually click on it. But as you can see, NBA 2K21 works fine on the Series X. So let's go ahead and eject this thing right here. And there's one other topic I want to talk about real quick regarding the Xbox Series X games. So let me just close this thing right here and kind of explain it. So I've talked about it before in other videos, but basically the way Xbox, or the way Microsoft is doing it on the new Xbox, is they make games a few different ways now. They have this Xbox Series X game, and as you can see, it says Xbox up top, and it just says Xbox Series X right here, which means it'll supposedly only work on the Xbox Series X or S. Well, actually, no, it won't work on the S because the S is only digital. So this only works on the Xbox Series X. Now they have some games that'll say Xbox Series X, and then right next to it, it'll say Xbox One. So basically it's optimized for the Series X, but it can also go down to the Xbox One as well. And then they have another version that says Xbox One and then Xbox Series X, which basically means it's the Xbox One version, but it is backwards compatible onto the Xbox Series X and not necessarily upgradable to like the next gen features and stuff. I don't know, man. They made it pretty confusing. Just kind of a side-by-side comparison. Here's an Xbox One game, and clearly it says Xbox One, so you know what console that's for. This just says Xbox, and if you gloss over it and don't read the Xbox Series X here, you might get confused. Now I think most people will probably get this, especially gamers, but I think there's going to be some confusion. I'm sure there already has been, and I've talked about this in other videos, but I also kind of just want to show you real quick just what I mean. So Xbox Series X is supposed to be compatible with, I think, like, I don't know, 99% of Xbox One games. So this game should boot up pretty quickly. There's probably an update because I haven't played it in a while. I actually have to insert the first disc to download it onto the console, so we're not going to do that right now. But basically, Xbox One games can play on the Series X. Series X games can play on the Series X. Some Series X games can play on the Xbox One. But yeah, I mean, they should make it kind of confusing. So let's go ahead and plug in my Xbox One X, and we'll see what happens there. Alright guys, so I got my Xbox One X plugged in. Got my Series X game right here. And one other thing to point out that's kind of cool is the Series X controllers work on the Xbox One natively. I mean, you can see that it's basically the same controller. A little bit better though. So here's our Series X game. Let's go ahead and put it in the Xbox One X and see what happens. Now, like I was showing you on the front, this game supposedly will not work with the Xbox One. But I am interested to see if, I'm hoping Microsoft actually helps people out and tells them the reason it's not working. If it doesn't load up, I think that'll help. There we go. So it says, sorry, this game isn't compatible. It says choose something else or try the disc on a Series X. So that's what I want to see, guys. It may seem like a small feat, but this is something I always want to see on consoles, is that the console recognizes the disc it is, gives you an action plan, gives you a way to fix your issue, tells you which console to put it in. Because I mean, obviously if you know what you're looking at here, you see it says Xbox Series X, so you assume that obviously it's not going to work on the Xbox One. But if you didn't look at the Xbox Series X, you just looked at the Xbox, you might think it plays on the Xbox One as well, or whoever bought it for you might think that. So it is nice that you plug it in and at least Microsoft tells you that it's not going to work on the Xbox One, and it says to go try it on the Series X. So then at that point you get a clue. You're like, oh man, this doesn't work on my Xbox One. I need to get a Series X. Too bad they're all sold out. But let me just show you the Xbox One game now. So this game clearly should work on here, and I actually found my second disc. It was actually in my Xbox One X. Who knows how long it's been there, because I haven't turned on this thing in a while now. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of interesting stuff that they did it this way. I mean, in some aspects I understand it, like they made it a lot of different compatibility pathways, but at the same time, because there's so many different compatibility pathways, it just causes issues. Alright, so there's our Xbox One X. Let's go ahead and pull up our Xbox 360 and see what happens there. Alright guys, so here's the 360, and it's actually like one of the first editions. It has an HDMI port, but I think this was manufactured in 2007, so definitely prone to the red ring of death. Fortunately, it does not have the red ring of death yet, but it could at any moment in time, and also the disk drive could get stuck at any moment in time, like it just did there, but now it works. So hopefully it'll open up when we try to take our Series X disc out. But yeah, let's go ahead and put this thing in, and I got some cool stuff to show you on the screen as well. This 360 has one of the cool old dashboards. Just going to put that in, and as you can see, the dashboard is from 2009. Pretty sweet, and that was pretty quick. It says open tray. Well, to be fair, this thing could actually say open tray, and it might still work. It just might be this laser that's broken. But I just played a game on here a couple days ago, so I know that the laser should be working. But I kind of want to just give you the sound check, or the noise that this 360 makes when you put a disc in. So let's listen to this. I mean, it's just like, it's almost like a grinding noise, I'm gonna call it, when a disc goes in. And it's not just the Series X game that does that. It's pretty much every 360 game. And then you could hear it whirl a little bit like it's trying to load it up, but clearly nothing happening. No info or anything, just an open tray. The 360 is kind of like that, though. I'll be honest, 360 generation was it was a great console, but it's one of the worst generations ever for just like messed up consoles and issues. And you know, every time I turn around with a console like this, there's some issue. Like the disk drive is stuck, the laser won't read, there's red ring of death. You know, there's always something wrong with this thing. So no surprise, it doesn't read anything. You can see the same thing happens there. It says reading and then open tray. So unfortunate. It's a cool console, but no dice. Alright guys, so last but not least, got the original Xbox, and clearly it's not just any Xbox, it's the Halo limited edition, special edition actually, and it's a translucent green, which is super cool. Let's go ahead and turn this thing on. Well, I guess it would help if I plugged in the power. Alright, so now that I have a power plugged in, let's go ahead and turn this thing on. There you go, got some cool green lights and everything. Got your nice classic futuristic startup. Never gets old. Let's go ahead and open up this tray. Just like the 360, it's got a regular tray. It doesn't suck in the disc or anything. It doesn't have motors for the disc. It's an actual tray. Now let's go ahead and do this real quick. And actually first, on the screen, it wants me to put in my time. Let's do that. And yeah, let's just see what happens when we put the disc in. I don't think there's anywhere on the Xbox where it says that it's like reading a disc or anything. So that kind of sucks. You don't really know what's happening. I guess you do know that down here it's reading a disc because it's flashing. The LEDs are flashing. So that's at least one good sign. And I can hear the disc spinning in the tray. Not very fast, but it's doing something. Let's try out memory and see if it shows anything there. So it just shows your Xbox hard drive, a bunch of saves, and the lights finally stopped flashing, but nothing pops up to like tell you it's the wrong disc or anything, unfortunately. I was hoping it'd be kind of like the Xbox One. Clearly an Xbox made 20 years ago can't tell you that it's not, or can't tell you that it's made for a Series X, but I'm just hoping, I would hope it had like a feature that says that it's not an Xbox disc, but clearly it doesn't. Let's try one more time though, just to observe. So when you put it in and it's reading a disc, it starts flashing right there, but there's no disc spinning up here or anything, so you can't really tell what's happening. But it seems like after like 30 seconds or so it just stops. But yeah, I mean, we expected that. We didn't really expect it to actually play the get disc. I just kind of hope it had like some kind of error message, or sometimes it shows like a like a splash screen or something. It shows you a little video. I don't remember what console it is. I think it might be if you play an original Xbox game on something that recognizes DVDs. It'll show you like a little short video, like it tricks you like it's opening up, and then it says like this game is not compatible on this console. So sometimes I hope for stuff like that, but clearly nothing about like that for the Series X here. But yeah, alright guys, so there you go. That's what happens when you put the Series X game in an Xbox 360, an Xbox One X, and an Xbox Series X. You know, the results were similar to what I expected. But fortunately, I'm glad that the Xbox One actually tells you that it's a Series X game and can actually steer you in the right direction. I fear there's going to be a lot of games bought for the wrong console in the future, and I'm sure there already have been. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy this content. And as always, have a great day.